Hello and welcome. I'm Sue Ann with Right Mix for Business. You're watching The Marketing Mirror. And I'm so happy that you're here today. We are live. And today we are not just live on LinkedIn Live, as we've been doing for several weeks now. I think 3 months of lives with audio and or video. But today we're also on YouTube, as many of you know. And we're on X. Yay, finally. I broke down, went pro, so we could come live also on X, which I know will make today's guest very happy because my friend Lisa of Inspired to Thrive, one of the most awesome blogs out there, bloggers, writers, digital marketers, social media management person, strategist. Lisa is an all-around everything digital, is here today. And I met Lisa on X, as you know, if you watched our Is Twitter Dead episode, which I thought was super fun. So I want to bring Lisa up today. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. I'm so glad you went pro with X and that we're able to be live on X. This is great.
It's always a good day when Lisa Sicard can visit us. And Lisa, because she has so much experience with not only her own digital deeds gone deep, because she's, like I said, into everything. Besides that, she does a lot of work for clients, and she even handles Pinterest accounts for clients. So she's going to be able to give us a lot of insight on today's topic, which is about Pinterest marketing. And as you see, we were expecting our good friend of the show and also a co-featured person, often, Jamie Shine. But Jamie is under the weather today. So we wanted to wish Jamie a speedy recovery and hope that she feels a lot better soon so that she can join us for more talk on Pinterest and other exciting subjects. So are you ready to hop in, Lisa?
Ready to go.
We don't mess around and talk about stuff. We get right into it. So today we are going to jump into Pinterest. And, you know, when Lisa and Jamie and I are thinking, again, we wish you well, Jamie, and feel better ASAP, please. While we're thinking about what platform for my peeps, we're always thinking about those things that I've talked about many times with you guys. Where is my audience? Who are my audience? What are my business goals? My reason for being on any given social platform? And where do my personal talents lie? For example, if I'm terrible at video, like I kind of am, maybe YouTube shouldn't be one of my prime channels, and it's probably not. So for that's the thing. But today we're going to focus on Pinterest. And you know what's interesting about Pinterest, you guys? A lot of people don't give Pinterest a lot of cred as far as a social media platform. And I think it deserves more notice and more cred because it really can drive, as in the title, it really can drive sales, traffic to your website, and sales to your business. Wouldn't you agree, Lisa?
Yes. I started on Pinterest years ago. I used to run a medical scrub website, and I saw the results. When I posted certain scrubs up there on Pinterest, the sales automatically came. It was really amazing. It's if you have products to sell, it really can work well.
Pinterest is kind of amazing because it does open doors to business if you use Pinterest marketing. Now, today, we're going to start out with kind of giving you some overall information and an overall feel of the Pinterest platform, but it may have to go into a second show. Lisa and I were talking about as we were making plans, because getting into Pinterest marketing and strategy and types of content is a whole bigger ball of wax. But let's take a look at what we know so far. We know that there are 537 million active monthly users. So, hey guys, there might be some people out there that you can find for your business and business marketing with numbers like that. And I think this is as of Q3 24, so it's pretty recent. This is from Pinterest themselves. And I've seen that it's gone up increasingly over the last few years in my study of the research. People use boards to collect information, to gather ideas, and for inspiration. So a lot of people think of Pinterest more as a visual discovery engine versus a typical social media platform. And I think that if you find that people are finding your information in different ways, like through words or through the visuals or through personal feeds where they collect certain topical pins. So there's different ways that people do discover you on Pinterest, which makes it that discovery engine. Also, am I correct, Lisa, in that Pinterest is its own, it's not a social platform, so to speak. It's actually a search engine as well.
That is correct, because you can search via the words and all kind of pins will come up if they're labeled correctly.
And so that might enter into some of your strategy too when we get to that with techniques and using hashtags or keywords and things like that. Keywords are always important on a search engine platform, as we know, because we want to be found. The data that I was able to find for the latest information skews Pinterest to a female audience over a male audience. But I know that there are some really strong male brands that are really doing well with Pinterest. So don't count that out if I were you guys. What do you think, Lisa?
I agree. There's been, an uptick in males on the platform over the years. I think in the past it was more like 90-10, so it's really changing.
And what they're saying is that Pinterest reaches a lower age demographic generally too. And I think I did see I saw a statistic. Let me find it real quick. Here's a quote from the Pinterest website. It says, Gen Z is our fastest growing audience, making up 42% of our global user base. They're searching and saving more than ever and more than other generations, and they're here to shop. In fact, the main reason Gen Z uses Pinterest is to find information about products or brands. So I think there was an actual figure of a percentage of increase. Ooh, I lost it on my paper. But when I find it, I'll tell you. What do you think, Lisa? Have you noticed an uptick in the younger people on Pinterest, or are your clients finding users who are younger for becoming purchasers? Because Pinterest is a purchasing app.
Right. It's pretty even, though, if you look at those stats. I mean, 39 to 46, they're pretty close, all those age groups, anywhere between that 18 and 44, they're pretty close. So it's a good demographic.
I noticed that stat equals more than 100%. So I'm not sure exactly how that works, but hey. So when you think about that many actual monthly users, and you think of it as a search engine in disguise, there's some value with SERP and SEO in that regard. And I've seen some evidence of people being ranked on Google with their Pinterest, like their Pinterest coming up on Google. I don't have an example offhand, but I know I had seen that recently, and that was one of the reasons I was so interested in talking about Pinterest. Also, I think you'll find that Pinterest, because it's a discovery engine, also has sort of the same beauty that YouTube brings you, in that it has longevity with your content. So that you present a library, it stays there. It's not like that quick running feed that YouTube or that Twitter is, and that LinkedIn. It's not a fast running social feed like those. So you have a better chance for longevity, but not only that, discoverability over time. Again, there's examples of people who are earning money from things they pinned up to 10 years ago, if they're good, solid, evergreen content. Also, Pinterest is more like a library. I heard this on a video recently, and I thought it was really great. It's more like a library for a social media platform because it's quieter. people are really doing that discovery thing. They're putting up ideas. They're collecting creative collections. They're designing their room. They're thinking about reorganizing a studio and collecting all the things that they might want to put in it. They're collecting their Christmas gift list. They're collecting different things, and so they're there to find, discover, research, and collect, and not so much to chat as you find with other platforms. What do you think on that one, Lisa?
That's the huge reason I love Pinterest, because you can have something on there from years ago that, especially if it's for the holidays, like every Christmas, that pin will keep coming up. So it's really an amazing thing about Pinterest. I read something earlier from Neil Patel that was showing, blogs have a real long lifespan, but Pinterest was the next thing from a blog that kept things forever. And that's something you won't get with any other social media network.
Okay. Test. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. I'm yapping away. No one can hear me. I thought it was Lisa. Lisa thought it was her. I thought it was, I think it was me, Lisa. I'm such an
That's okay.
I am such an egghead on live, everybody. I am so sorry. We're still practicing. And every time we want to get better and better, right? So that's what we're going to hope to do. And again, we're so glad that Lisa's here from Inspired to Thrive. We are talking about Pinterest, and everything I said recently you probably missed. I'm so sorry. Okay, so they do suggest that you set up a Pinterest business page, and I believe that's free. And I was asking Lisa, is that correct, Lisa? I think it's free for everyone to just switch to a business page. Why would you want to do that, though?
Yes, it is free to use a business page. And with a business page, just like with most other social networks, you're able to track results. You don't get to track results if it's just a personal one. So you're able to see your stats. You're able to see kind of what works, what's not working, and be able to do better things on Pinterest.
And
you can also you can advertise.
Yes. And they give you some help. Where I have some stuff for that too. So for the best results and to access those e-commerce features, and that might include using their advertising. And Pinterest advertising is really reasonable. Is it CPM? I saw a stat that it beats Facebook and everybody else. We have a comment that the audio is back now. Don't worry. Thank you. I really appreciate that. The trials and tribulations. I'm not in my home studio, as many of you know, for several weeks, and I've been just so haphazard with things going on, and doing the best I can, though. 40% of U.S. households have a high income level as Pinterest users. So again, if you're looking for shoppers, that might be a thing. And women love to shop, and we already talked about the high demographic of women. So keep that in mind. Also, 96% of top searches are unbranded. And I love that. So what that tells you is that you and me, Lisa, us everyday guys, us everyday service providers and small product makers, artists, we can do really well because people aren't looking for necessarily the big brands, although they can do well on Pinterest too. And I have a couple case studies that I'll give you in the notes later for looking at results of bigger operations using Pinterest in different ways, even as branded. But I love the fact that people are open to new ideas. And that's why you can be so creative with how you produce and what you do on Pinterest. And they feel inspired by the shopping experience on Pinterest. Again, because you pin and you have boards and it's very visual, I think that's what makes it more fun for people as a platform. You think so, Lisa?
I do, because they don't feel like they're being sold to on Pinterest.
Yeah, more like I'm finding what I'm looking for, or I'm gathering ideas and then I'll purchase from there.
Exactly.
So that's kind of cool because a lot of you guys are like Lisa and I, we're not like we're not telling you your offer is going to expire in 5 minutes if you don't buy our product or service right now. We're not that kind of like a high hitting, hardcore marketing. We're more like social media marketing, which is a lot less pushy, I guess is the word. So when you set up your business Pinterest page, you get plenty of pages to work with. It's free. You have e-commerce features and ads you can do. And most importantly, perhaps, is you can get Pinterest analytics. Let's take a look at this analytic that Lisa gave me a little bit earlier. I think you'll find it interesting. She can see how she's doing across the board with Pinterest analytics. And I think that's really helpful because when you are on a platform just as a profile and not as a business, you really lose out on understanding your audience. So if you are a service provider or business in any way, even though Pinterest is so creative, you may want to learn more about where you resonate with people, and you can use these analytics. And these are I guess from your reporting dashboard, these 5 analytics apply to every kind of pin that you do. So impressions, saves, pin clicks, follows, and outbound links. And of course, those outbound links mean that people are clicking over to your site or to your product or to purchase. So outbound links, of course, are going to be huge. Impressions, Lisa, didn't you have a statistic or notice something about impressions equaling actual views or something? You were telling me about that the other day.
My impressions versus the outbound links.
That's
and
it.
Yeah, they were like maybe 5%, I would say. So you needed to get, 100 impressions to get 5 outbound links. That was kind of the range I was in. But other people can have a different range. I think it's very interesting to keep track of that or to see how it's going. And when you're looking in your stats, it can be confusing when you see the pin click because you think people are clicking to your site, but they're just clicking on the pin to make it bigger. So that's the difference between those two. And I used the past 14 days because I've been experimenting the past couple weeks, and I wanted to see how the experiment was going. I found that when I was just pinning once a day, after months, the everything went down. All the analytics started going down. So I started adding pins like twice a day, and everything went way up. So it was just kind of a thing that I've been testing.
Yeah, I think I put up that old analytic real quick there. Do you mind if I show that again?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, this is before taking a stronger approach, a more consistent approach. And then I showed you this, which was just really not long later, a week maybe or two since we've been chatting, and it's gone the other way completely just by Lisa putting a little more time and attention. And I remember long ago, Lisa, you told me how much traffic that you get through Pinterest and how surprised you were at that huge percentage from social being from Pinterest coming to your site. Does that vary, or does Pinterest really drive a lot of traffic to you? It seems like it does.
It does. Actually, there was 1 month that surpassed Twitter, which was, all these years all my traffic from social really has been from X. And I had 2 months where Pinterest overtook by just a few, but I was like, wow, look at that, So yeah. And so when it's not doing that, it's usually second place all the time. So it comes right after my X traffic.
And then it does give you additional analytics for videos, which includes views, watch time, and average watch time. And as we know, those are important with your video work to get a long average watch time. I think that's one of the things that everybody's trying to go for with videos, but you can actually track that in Pinterest with your videos, which some people might not even know. There's one important note. When you set up your Pinterest business page, you must make sure that you go through the settings, functions, and especially be sure to do the claimed account to verify your website, because this is going to make all the difference in your analytics and your ability to do everything that you want to do on Pinterest for business. Lisa, do you want to comment about that? I think you know some stuff.
Yeah, I found out that my tag wasn't working, my product tag, and I had my developer look into it, and he fixed it actually today. I have SiteKit on my WordPress website, which shows you all your Google Analytics and Search Console on your WordPress dashboard, so you don't have to take the extra step to go there. And SiteKit, the last time I guess they updated it, dropped the code. And when I was going through all my Pinterest stats, I noticed the code says the code was missing. I'm like, what happened? And it looked kind of complex. I said, let me get more Ray. And sure enough, he took care of it in no time. So that's just a little side note. If you use SiteKit in a WordPress site, you may want to double check to be sure your tag is working properly as well. It'll show all the, I guess they call them events. So you'll be able to even better track, because I don't think I've seen my video views the way you showed, Sue-Ann, and I'd be really curious to know how long a video can be on Pinterest, because I've always done short ones. So that's something I'm going to check, and we'll have to let people know after what the maximum length of a video is.
I feel like all of the platforms are starting to vary what they do with video and what they allow. And like even YouTube just increased their shorts to up to 3 minutes. I'm not sure if people love that or hate that yet. I think it's still new, but it is interesting how, and also LinkedIn is pushing like vertical videos. Of course, they want you to do it native onto LinkedIn. I kind of rather enjoy streaming to a couple platforms. I don't know. LinkedIn is something I'm trying to develop on, but it's not my prime platform, or hasn't been. So I appreciate that I can still do it live on YouTube and now on X. Woo woo. So that's super cool. There's all kinds of different types of pins, but idea pins, product pins, and video pins are always pretty darn hot. Idea pins can be really creative. You can pull all kinds of things together. There's different ways to do that. They're customizable. You can add voiceovers and copy. You can do video content, music, and stories. All kinds of stuff can be part of your idea pins. Also product pins, because people are shopping directly from a clickable, ready to buy pin. And Pinterest was one of the first platforms that did have click to buy from the platform, which I don't think everybody knows, which I think is super cool. And you can get tagged, like Lisa was talking about, to connect your products to pins and to find out about sales and even do upsell possibilities. Let's hear what Miss Eileen has to say. Take this down for 1 second, because she's saying, oh, that's no good, Miss Eileen. recovering from dental work. I hope you're leaning back and taking it easy, just resting up, because we need your smiling smile back on here soon, I'm sure. So hi to Miss Eileen and our other people who are watching and listening. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. So back to this. So there's so many things you can do. Again, send video pins is another. So you have different possibilities. Like we were just talking about, you can change formats and styles. Now length is a question. There's some different things going on with that. But you should always try to keep in mind that you have a purpose and a call to action with your pins, because people on Pinterest are more open or more conducive to it's conducive to people clicking for further information or to see the product up close. It's not like many of the platforms that really don't want you ever to have a click through to a URL or to a sale. They kind of, here it's more acceptable or something. What do you think, Lisa?
Yes, although I heard recently that it's good not to have every single pin with a URL, with a link. And I went, oh boy, here we go again, right? Every network has been doing this. So I did a couple. I did some of my new puppy on there just to throw a few in without any links. And that was part of my test as well. So we'll see in the next couple of weeks too, as I put a few more in just to see.
Oh, I forgot to put your puppy one up I meant to put that in our assets here for the show.
Oh, that's okay.
Darn it. I did have that downloaded. I forgot to put that. Maybe I'll get that in the article. So there's article pins. So they have a headline, an author, a description. There's product pins. There's recipe pins. There's movie pins with ratings and cast members, reviews. There's place pins where you can have an address, a phone number, and a map. These are called rich pins. I would say most pins are rich pins in a way, because they do have the ability to take you elsewhere if you choose to. But like Lisa said, and like most social platforms will advise right now, you don't want to strictly be sending people to your fill in the blank. You want to make it be, you're offering information, you're sharing, you're curating other things. It's fun when you're on boards with other people and everybody shares to them, right, Lisa? We're on a couple together where people put social media.
Yes, I haven't seen as many people sharing as they used to on the boards, but they're still there. As a matter of fact, I added some new ones to them in the past 24 hours.
That's super cool. I think the visual discovery engine thing that I keep on the top of these slides is kind of a reminder that you can be creative, and it's a very visual platform and people are attracted to that, but people aren't afraid to click through and find out what else is going on. They're ready for that CTA. They're ready. They're expecting. That's the word I couldn't come up with. They're expecting that they might click to learn more. And so I think that's really great. If you were watching my last live, any of you guys, with Stephanie Garcia, one of the things that she said that we were talking about building your brand on LinkedIn, building your personal brand. And she said one of the things she expects to see in the future coming up in 2025 is kind of a fallback to people reading blogs and things slowing down. She said, and I find it really funny because she's the video queen. She said people are videoed to death, and she feels that maybe, as a future prediction, things might fall back to where, reading more and finding out more is going to be more accepted again, more typical. We're going to go back a little to that. There are formats for every purpose, and these are some of them that you can do on Pinterest. We've talked about a few of them. Do you want to talk about some of them, Lisa?
Yeah, I try to mix them up as far as doing just, a regular one image pin, and there's also carousels. Carousels work really well, just like they do on Instagram. So you can have a pin. Usually I do them for instructions, but they also work really well for recipes. So if you can think creatively, things that you have on a blog post and you can put them into, 6 different slides, those work really well on Pinterest too. And of course, video.
I just added that you use Flicky. I just added a comment with your link for Flicky because that's one of the ones I know that you like to use to create the videos, correct?
Yes, I absolutely love Flicky. They've really improved too, just in the past 2 weeks. You have to put a little bit more information in, so it gives you a better video because it wants to know a little bit more what what you're thinking and what you need for the video. And you get to pick all different kind of avatars, and it's just phenomenal. And the music and the voiceovers, you can pick all different kind of things. So I can whip out so many more videos now by using it. And sometimes if it's a really good video that I think may work well on YouTube, I can do it as a short, or I can put it on Twitter. I mean, there's all different, formats that you can do. So anything that's video, Flicky is phenomenal. It was paying like $28 a month for it, the Pro, and they had a year offer. I think it was under $300 for the year. It was just, with all kind of bells and whistles. So I jumped on that. But I highly recommend it. And I believe they have a free trial or a free version where you can do a few. But I use it almost daily. And they give you extra points, I learned, on the weekend for for free. So
Oh, that's so cool. Because if you're willing to work on the weekend, you deserve some free points. And me and Lisa always like to work. It doesn't matter what day. But there's Lisa's link, and it's also in the comments on YouTube. So grab that if you want to check it out. And let me put up this little video that Lisa did for us to show you how to put together a collage. One caveat is that to do the collages, you need to work from your phone, right, Lisa?
Yes, and this was actually like the second time I've done one because I just learned about them. I actually wrote a post today about it after doing all kind of different experiments. And I used it right from my phone doing the Pinterest app. It didn't take long, but there's also another app called Shuffles that you can play with and experiment, and they're all free. So it is free to use, and it's kind of fun doing them.
Okay, here's Lisa's example. I'm going to put that on and move us off.
Move them as you go. We're going to look for another one here.
Lisa, I'm not 100% sure whether our sound was working on that.
I don't think it worked, but I think people got the basics of how they can do it.
Play with it.
Grabbing different pins on there and making the collage, and you can get as creative as you want. You can even change background. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And my best advice is to just use it, play with it, test it, try it out. And you'll really see, what you can do.
And thanks for popping in, Neil. We appreciate it. Better late than never.
Hi, Neil.
Okay, now back to our presentation. And so there's so many formats, collages being one. So when we think about what platform for my peeps, maybe Pinterest has a place that we haven't even been considering. And as Lisa said, you can start off easy, doing one or two a week, or, then building to 1, 2, 3, like one a day. And then you can build onto that and do multiple a day. But we want to make sure that you do it with proper consideration. So you always have to have that strategy. And I want to remind you again to join us, myself, Lisa, Jamie, when she's back, and friends on the show. Let me go back now and double check, Lisa. I had a couple questions. Oh, I know. You were talking about using AI to create video pins. Is that something you're doing on Flicky?
Yes, that is correct. Yep. And if I use the same video, say on YouTube, it does ask you to check off the box that you're using AI. So I do that. Same on Instagram or Facebook. Whenever I use them as reels and reproduce them, because if you're going to make the video, you may as well use it a few different ways.
Especially because Barb just joined us. I just put up your Pinterest with the doggies, with your bulldog one. That's the link to the one that Lisa was talking about that I missed putting in the show. So if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube, the link, and there it is below. And hey, Barb, so nice to see you. And she's watching from X. See, Lisa? See what happens? I went on X and Barb showed up. Thank you, Barb. Appreciate it. We always love seeing you. Barb is a corgi lover, and she does the greatest AIs, Lisa, with her corgis that she puts up on Facebook all the time. I just love those, Barb. It's so intriguing. She's also a balloonist. Like flying in the balloons and stuff that are so beautiful. Anyway, thank you for being here, Barb. We appreciate it. So back to what. So there, you can use AI, which is also good. If you want to get more attention, the more times a week that you need to do it, that 3 to 4 times a week, and then to build up daily, Monday through Friday, and then even to do a few times a day. One thing Lisa mentioned, and I want to bring it up again, is that you should mix up your pins. So you should do vertical images. You should do carousels. You should do videos. Mix those things up. Right, Lisa?
Yes, that is correct. And I found an easy way, depending on how your website is structured. I think it was when you go to create pin, if you can start with the URL, it'll show all the images for that particular URL. So that could save you a lot of time. My website's not set up that way. I've been using less images because I've been trying to make my site faster. But if you have a store or your site's just set up different, you can try that out, and it would really save you a lot of time.
And I love that Barb's mentioning AI on X also, which I'll get to use Grok now, I think. Is that right, Lisa?
I love Grok. I just read that they're now taking information from the web. Before we get on the show, I just saw that.
Oh, that's good.
Before, everything was only from X. And it's so much better than ChatGPT because they take information that's current. They don't go back 2021. So you're not getting old stuff. But now that they're taking it from the web, that's fabulous.
Right. It keeps getting richer and richer, doesn't it? I love that. Can you tell us a little bit, Lisa, as a warning, people, this is something I personally didn't know until Lisa and I started working on the show, but can you tell us about suspensions or Pinterest suspensions that you could get from a pin and how what to do? What to do?
Yes. It's always, it's going to be a bad day when you get an email saying you have been suspended. First it used to be from X. I've had it from Google My Business. That was a real nightmare. I've had it from almost every network, I think, except LinkedIn. But Pinterest, I had a pin taken down. It was actually one of my better pins, just like on YouTube. I had one of those taken down. And I've won all the appeals except with YouTube. It's the only one I never won. But I did win the appeals with Pinterest. They just asked a few questions through their email. You reply back. They tell you where to go. You follow the directions. And I was able to get them back. They never took down my account, my Pinterest account. It was just a pin here and there. And I really never got to the bottom of why. You don't know why. And
so frustrating.
When it happened to me on YouTube, it was my biggest one. It was how you can view private Instagram accounts. Lots of people have that on YouTube. There's all kind of videos there, but they took mine down and they would not give it back to me. So and they even struck my account. I had a strike on it. So
that is so wild. I had no idea that could happen to anyone on Pinterest. So it's good to know because, as usual, Lisa has all the inside scoop. Also, Lisa, you talked about avoiding spammy behavior, like don't use bots to be your pinner. Don't keep doing rapid pinning, like that's not human pinning, right?
Right. Anything that can be suspicious that they'll say, gee, you did too much. I had this actually happen to a client on Instagram. That's another one. It was a client of mine, and they had given out awards. It was a real estate office. They'd given out all kind of awards. And so we, had a lot of stuff to put up on the same day, and they suspended the account for a short time until I got in touch and was able to get it undone. But they said, oh, we just noticed you had a lot of stuff that normally you don't post that much. So the same thing on Instagram, same thing here on Pinterest.
So this is a note you put on our notes, and I want you to talk about it if you don't mind. So how do you avoid broken links? How do you keep your account info updated on Pinterest? Because like we have a link break checker like on our WordPress site, but how do you do that on your pins? Because it is a library, it does have longevity. And if you collaborate, how do you ensure your partners follow the Pinterest rules? These are all great suggestions. Can you talk about it?
Those are great questions. As far as the broken links, if it's going to your site, you probably would be able to get that through your Google Analytics or Screaming Frog, but I don't know of any other way. So that's something I'd like to look into and see if we can let people know on that, Sue Ann. That would be fabulous if there was an easier way.
How about this?
Yeah.
Barb just put this up. She logged in. We got her looking at her Pinterest. So she logged in and found that they took down one for adult content. Oh, she thinks it was taken by spam.
Yeah.
So you got to check in once in a while, Barb.
Yeah, if you don't log in, that's another red flag for any social media network, actually. So
yeah, they kind of they want to keep you on the platform using it. But like this is why we're talking about Pinterest too, because I think people have forgotten Pinterest is a viable platform that does drive traffic, and people will click on your links, and people will purchase your products, like Lisa mentioned, particularly for her product driven companies or local businesses or artistic businesses, designers, things like that. So that's important, I think.
Someone asked about the collaboration. I like to schedule my pins right on Pinterest. I used to use a lot of scheduling tools for different networks, but with Pinterest, you can schedule them in. So I do that for a client of mine. She has a jewelry. She makes jewelry, vintage jewelry, handmade jewelry, and I can schedule them in so she can go and look anytime and know what's going to be coming up in the next few days. And I do it for myself because I like to do things in batches. So that's just another thought for you.
That's so smart. Do you think it's a good idea to have a content calendar and strategy for pins? Do you use something like that?
Definitely, especially around the holidays, because you really want to not forget different things, that are seasonal. You want to make sure you cover everything there.
What about profile? Do you look at it the same, whether it's a business page or a personal page? In your opinion, Lisa, what are the things to concentrate on most for your profile? I think one of the big things is using real photos of yourself on social channels in your profiles. I know people don't like that, but I think the actual picture of you on profiles is a must for profiles, I feel, because people want to get to know people. They don't want to get to know your logo.
I agree. But just make sure you have all your keywords in there.
That's so important.
For your description, really focus on the keywords and what your business, is about, or how you're solving problems for people. Those are the things I would kind of focus on in the bio. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can use a tool. You can use the Right Blogger. That's another AI tool. They do all social media profiles. You can put in your info and they'll write out a beautiful bio for you. Of course, you can edit it.
That's a great tip. Lisa, put that or can you add that into the comments, your Right Blogger link, or put it into our private, and I'll add it either way. I think you have access to comments. I'm not positive.
And I noticed Bob wrote a comment. We missed a comment from Bob about the ChatGPT. She's saying that now ChatGPT 4.0 is current. So seeing if she's, yes, okay. Is that still free to use, Bob, or do you have to pay for the 4.0? I'd be curious on that.
Yeah, I feel like that's paid, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
But she did say she wasn't even sure that Pinterest was viable anymore, but we're finding that it is. And current stats info on Pinterest, you have to be a business account. Barb, maybe you missed that earlier, to get the best info. But Lisa also has her site tagged for her Pinterest stuff. And so on her WordPress site, she also gets through her, what is it, Google Kit? What do you call that, Lisa? I have
the site kit.
Site kit. I have it on my site, but I can't get it out.
It also integrates with Shopify. If anyone has a Shopify site, Pinterest does integrate with that. I used to work with someone that had a Shopify, and that was the way they mapped those two together. Really made it easy for people. So
I was just looking at Shopify. A couple of my writer friends have little shops in Shopify where they sell, like, things for writers that are, maybe make their own T-shirts, stuff like that, to put in there. She says it's paid use of the chat. She's a paid user, so
okay,
that's most likely that.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the stat.
Oh, Lisa is inspiretothrive.com. I can put that up on a banner for us, because her website is one of the top in the business. One of the best DAs you can find, and one of the most informational. Oops, I forgot to put .com, but inspiredtothrive.com. Let me hide that and edit it and put the .com. Yeah, Lisa has information on every app, and she really pays attention to social media, and she tests things that we decide not to ever get on, because Lisa tests it and lets us know if it's worth getting on or not. But also, when you do social for clients, it's so great that you continue to test all of those. That's it. ToThrive.com. Go there. Go there and learn everything. Lisa's got it. Also, it says here, some of the locations you can insert keywords on Pinterest to improve your chances of organically ranking through search. So we talked about Pinterest SEO. So in the bio, Lisa mentioned it, in your bio and profile, you want to do that. You also want to use it in your pin descriptions. You want to use SEO and think of keywords for board titles, also for board descriptions. And last but not least, for that image alt tag.
And you can always go in and edit. That's something that I actually need to do myself. You can go in and edit anything on there. So if you wanted to change the board descriptions, you can go in and do an edit for them.
Okay, and I'm going to give this link. I got it here now for Lisa, for the Right Blogger, because I know you use that for a lot of stuff. So I'm going to put that right in the notes on Facebook or on YouTube, and I'm also going to add it to a banner for you.
They've got 85 tools now. 85 different tools for social media, for writing, SEO, everything. It's amazing. Yeah, that's the right one for Pinterest. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Or if you just want to go into what tool, or just
that's it. That's the one.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. So I just saw this chart that you put in there, Lisa. Should I bring that into?
Was that the one from Neil Patel, I think, that I referenced earlier?
Yes.
Yes. That just shows the length of time that pins last. It's amazing. I can see the chart, but I can't see how I can't get it off that page to put up right now. But I can, again, when we do these shows, we try to follow up and put stuff. I'll add stuff into the description. I'll add links into the description on YouTube. I'll also probably follow up eventually with an article that brings you a lot of this stuff. But Lisa is so up to date on Pinterest, but there's other things that we probably need to pay attention to on Pinterest, because again, we want to be thinking about how people are using Pinterest. We want to think about our products and how they fit on Pinterest, and we want to present them creatively.
So I have a link for an article with some research. And one of the things that it talks about is how Pinterest user base has expanded, and that it's part of the evolution for the discovery to shopping, because it was one of the earliest ones. And this is where I found, this is through nogood.io, where I found that Pinterest has a lower average CPC compared to Facebook and Instagram if you're going to be doing ad work. You can do keyword layering, which is important and will be helpful for your SEO strategy. And of course, if you're using Pinterest marketing strategy, you want to do some of the same things that you do on any of your social strategies or content strategies, where you have specific goals that are measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, or SMART. I know everybody knows that one, right, Lisa? the old SMART way to look at things for, to be more strategic. But I think because we're close to an hour already, I think we should do a part 2, Lisa, and talk more about strategies. And at that point, I think we could show a lot more.
Why it's still viable. I find it still viable because people go there, they shop there, and your pins last longer than anything you would post on social media. You post something on X, it could go viral for a couple days, but next year you're not going to be able to find that, unless, even if you bookmarked it. I mean, it's not going to be in the stream where the pin on Pinterest would be there.
The
So that's
average active monthly user rate from when I did my last Pinterest video earlier, was it earlier in this year? Within a year, I did a video on Pinterest. And when I went to update and look at stuff for this one, I was amazed at the increase in monthly users alone. So there's definitely a user base. I think partly too, Lisa, like you and I were talking about the library thing, where it's not all like in your face social. It's kind of like you get to go play around and discover. I think that might be appealing for some people who are kind of feeling overdone by some of the social. Like a lot of like LinkedIn drives me nuts. They want you to write all, little individual story. They want you to just write for them on LinkedIn, not just share things you already wrote, because they want to keep it on the platform. Well, I find people are making up crap just to follow I got to talk about something. Some of them seem so inauthentic, I guess, to me, like they're just trying to do it that way because the app says it. You know what I mean? They don't really have a great story. They're just trying to make it fit. I don't know. It could be me. I always say, and everybody's heard me say this before, the social platforms want you to do this, but you have to consider, what does your business need you to do? What does your audience appreciate from you, or how are you helping your audience? I don't really care so much what the platform would prefer that I do, as much as I prefer to use that platform in a way that it helps me, helps my clients, helps my business. Barb says a lot of them are using AI to generate their stories. And again, that becomes sometimes, inauthentic. It's I don't know. A lot of people are kind of revolting against a lot of the AI comments and stuff. A lot of times you can tell it's AI because they start out by reiterating like the premise of your post. When you see that, it's AI and not a person, right? What's your take, Lisa?
Yeah, they make it so easy on LinkedIn to do it, because they just give you 3 buttons. 1, 2, 3. You can pick a button and respond. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's some of the things. Also, it's a good idea on this platform, like any other platform, that you do some consumer research. You figure out that audience demographic that you're trying to reach and to use that channel for, and that is specific to that platform, like you do with other channels. Like more and more we're creating, instead of sharing the same content on each platform, we're making content specific to certain platforms. Even if it's the same content, we approach how we present it differently for that platform and that audience, right? So I think that that's something that's going to happen, that, you know, that you do anyway. So why not do it in this case? Because in this case, I think there's definite shoppable momentum. I think people are more used to, you know, searching and finding for the intent of buying on Pinterest. It's sort of part of what it is in a way. I have a big comment from a LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who you are, but I appreciate it. Let's see what this person says. As I evaluate other social platforms, mostly for a new blog, I find this talk helpful. Thank you. Though my target audience is slightly older than Gen Z, I see how Pinterest can be beneficial, especially for video and e-newsletters. Absolutely. And I've heard it can help you gain more subscribers. I also see opportunities to promote content products on Pinterest. Absolutely. All those reasons, absolutely. Thank you for that great comment. Very, very thoughtful. And I think absolutely true. And again, every platform that you approach, you have to look at it from that scope of your business, your audience, and your talents. And I think if you do have a little bit of a creative lean, like some of us like to do a little more maybe than we might be told we should, then you have that opportunity to bring in that creativity into Pinterest. But I would love to talk more about, you know, the organic. I think that because it's this article calls Pinterest pins a visual bookmark. I think that's super great way to look at it, right? It's a visual bookmark. And it also gives you an opportunity, as I said, to be creative, but it makes it have that organic component, because it's about sharing and repinning and being, you know, part of different people's things. It's a storytelling platform, or can be a really great way to tell a story, like you did with your the example we showed with the collage, where you bring together all things on a topic, or where you do something with like the doggy, which showed all things on a topic. I thought that was really great. So those are different ways that you can use Pinterest and you know, improve what you're doing. I have links for Pinterest Academy for you guys and things like that I'll put in the show notes after this show, so that you can look more into what you can do. And maybe next, if not next week, as soon as we can get Lisa scheduled again and Jamie back on, we'll look at Pinterest more strategically, because I have some really good examples. I can show you a quickie that I pulled a picture up earlier from, and that's Oreo and what they do on Pinterest. It's a really cool thing where they show, you know, recipes and ideas. That could keep people looking through their Oreo stuff forever if they're getting all those goodies and things to try, because everybody loves Oreos as it is. And now you're giving me all these recipes for Oreos. So that's a great way to do it. I had another great case study for 7-Eleven. Let me give you that link real quick. I'll put it in the comments, and I'll put it on here real quick for you, because this is a great case study. And again, it's for a little bit of a bigger company, right? If you're using, whoops. I put it in the wrong chat. Sorry. I gave it to Lisa instead of to you guys. Still practicing. There we go. There it is. It's in the YouTube comments now. And here it is as a banner. So it's about the 7-Eleven, which you wouldn't think 7-Eleven would be a Pinterest company. They had an 80% increase in conversion with this particular case study, guys. So I think that makes it pretty relevant and something you might want to investigate. If you're thinking about what can you do with Pinterest, how can you succeed with Pinterest, how can you drive traffic? Here's a case study. Oreo is a case study. I have some other ones. And then, like I said, Lisa and I can come back and talk to you, and maybe Jamie will be better then, about more Pinterest strategy, like using user-generated content. User-generated content works in many ways, but I think it's a great way to use Pinterest. It would be a promotion piece for your company. You also want to think about things like quality images, the keywords that we talked about, how you do your descriptions, what boards are relevant, more on rich pins and so forth, hashtags. So we can talk and using social media promotion through Pinterest. We can talk about all of that. Lisa, what am I forgetting?
I think you covered it all, Sue-Ann. Yeah, I would love to come back another time and even get into the ads a little bit. I've done some of the ads and I may be doing more. So that may be part of the next topic. That'd be great.
Oh my God, that would be perfect because that's something a little bit deeper. And that is something that we mentioned is one of the benefits to Pinterest because of that CPM and because they have a really nice trending, I guess URL, a trending page you can look at to learn, what's going on with it. And then you can learn more about how to do ads that are better targeted. So all that sounds great. I really appreciate you being here today, Lisa. I think we've covered a great deal about Pinterest. Make sure you visit Lisa on Inspired to Thrive. If you feel like hitting me up with Buy Me a Coffee, I would always love that. That wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm using that coffee money to help feed the kiddies. And thank you for watching The Marketing Mirror. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa, for being here. And I think
thank you for having me.
I think it's time to sign off. You sure didn't forget anything?
Nope.
Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon. I'm going to put something up and take Lisa and I off. Take care, guys. Hey, guys, it's Sue-Ann. I'm so happy to invite you to my new membership community called Inside the Marketing Mirror. Let's go a little deeper into digital. Let's learn and grow together. Let's, for the price of a cup of coffee a month, jump into this private studio for exclusive content, deeper dive learning, and surprise events. So come on in, my friends and colleagues, through my new Buy Me a Coffee membership. And whether you make the events or not live as a member, all the content will be available exclusively to you in the studio library. I can't wait to see you.